So I am here with Amber. Amber, tell me a little bit about yourself.
So I'm a licensed financial advisor. I'm originally from New Jersey and I've been in California for 8 years.
Okay.
And this has just been an amazing experience. I've loved meeting all the women. So
Okay.
just excited to be here.
So what brought you here today to the Black Women Lead Summit?
So funny thing is I was on LinkedIn and I saw Dr. Hill post about the summit. And I was like, I've never seen anything like this. I haven't seen anything like this in LA. And specifically, being that it's geared towards Black women who are leading teams, leading organizations, leading businesses. And I, as a financial advisor, those are the type of women that I work with. And so I said, I need to get in the room.
Yes.
And I need to talk to these women and learn about them and share with them how I could be a resource to them. So I reached out to Dr. Hill and immediately she was like, let's hop on a call. And yeah, now here we are at the mixer.
We need you here. You just led a few activities, and let me tell you, they were so energetic and engaging, but also they were really informative. And there was a call to action. Tell me about the activities that you led today and what they meant.
Yeah, so the first thing we did was like a bingo. So it was like find someone who has a financial advisor, or find someone who knows what the S&P 500 is. So it had all these different questions.
That question stumped a lot of us.
Did.
I'm a little ashamed to say it.
So all the women were just up engaging with one another, and we did have a winner. There was a gift card given away, so the person who could fill in all the boxes.
Sure.
So we had some ambitious women trying to get all the boxes filled up. And what was really exciting was we talked about the 4 C's. So conversation, clarity, commitment, and consistency. And so tonight was just building conversation around finances and getting people to talk about it. As Black women, we're not having enough conversations about wealth, about what building legacy means. And so I was excited to be able to start some of those conversations tonight.
So I imagine you work then with a lot of Black women leaders and professionals. What do you see as something that is really important for us and as it relates to our finances and what you've helped us with as a financial advisor?
Yeah, so I find that a lot of the women that I'm working with, they are first generation wealth builders. And so figuring out what legacy means to each woman, but really getting her to articulate what does that mean? Because legacy means something different for everyone. And so the first step is really creating some very clear goals around what are we trying to build. And so I find that the questions that I'm asking, similar to the questions that we had this evening, most people are like, oh my gosh, I've never thought about this, or I've never been asked these questions. So the first thing that I really dig into is, what do you want your life to look like? What are you trying to build? And giving women an opportunity to just talk about that, it just opens up a whole new world of possibilities. So I would say really building that foundation of having an understanding of who are you, what's important to you, and what are you trying to build has been really powerful.
So we did this sort of soul train line activity with wealth building questions that really encouraged us to be vulnerable with each other as it relates to wealth. One of the questions, I believe, was about defining generational wealth. And there was a really important component of that definition that I feel like more people need to hear.
Yes. So one of the things we talk about, we think about financial and generational wealth, we think about just the assets. And while the assets are very, very important, we want to pass on assets, but we also want to pass on information.
Yes.
We want to pass on character. We want to pass on good stewardship. So it's not enough just to have the assets that are being left to the next generation, because if they don't know what to do with it, then we're back at square one.
Yeah, because many people lose it.
Yeah, they lose it. And so part of building that generational legacy is making sure that the next generation is equipped mentally and with the knowledge of how to handle wealth. So even if you're not a first generation wealth builder, but you're someone that's receiving a legacy, you still need to know how to maintain it and how to make it grow. So we talked about that too tonight.
that was one of the important pieces that I'm also walking away with. So thank you for that. Yeah. I want to turn our attention to like what it's like being here. Yeah. Tell me, if you could describe the energy in this room in a couple of words, what would they be?
I would say electric. Yeah. I would say connected. There's a connectivity that's going on. And I would say sisterhood. You know, when I was chatting with one of the women, she talked about how this is her first year here, and she came because she's looking for sisterhood. And I see that happening in the room. And when we think about women who are leading, oftentimes it can be lonely, right? You're at the top, you're leading teams, maybe you're, the only person in your family that has that kind of career.
Yes.
And so being in a room with other women, Black women who get it, okay, it's beautiful. And so I definitely see that sisterhood, and there's just an excitement. Like, people are excited, and you can tell that relationships are going to be built from this weekend.
I love this.
Yeah.
What's been your favorite moment in the mixer so far?
Ooh, that's a good question. I would say, so honestly, while I was facilitating the activities, seeing the women laugh and smile, like genuine joy, that was just so beautiful to me, because as Black women, we don't have enough moments of joy, I feel like. And so just watching, I wish you all could see it. Like, even in the background right now, people are cracking up. People are genuinely joyful. And so that's been my favorite, to be able to help Dr. Hill facilitate that tonight.
Yeah. And one thing I want to add to that is there was so much laughter and joy, and we were talking about finances. And I know for many people that's something that might feel taboo to talk about in public, or you might feel ashamed and want to hide. Yeah. But folks were really being vulnerable and talking about it and having a good time.
Yeah. And I like that you mentioned the vulnerable piece, because again, as a Black community, we are not vulnerable enough when it comes to talking about our money. Yes. There's a wall up, there's a lot of shame. And so one of the things we talked about tonight is our money story, and how we have the capacity to change or create our money story. And so I found that was just exciting for women to be honest about where they are, but where they also want to go.
So you've met a lot of women tonight.
Yes.
Who's the most inspiring person you've met throughout the summit so far?
Well, obviously, I'll start with Dr. Hill.
Of course.
First of all, it takes a lot to build anything, okay? To get anything from the vision you have in your head, to get it out there, and then to get other people to buy into that vision. So Dr. Hill, I am so inspired by you. I've claimed you as my big sis here, because I'm like, oh my gosh, like her drive and her ability to, we are standing in her purpose.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, so she has a purpose, and because she followed her purpose, we are all connecting right now. So I'm just very inspired by her. And the other person that has just had me cracking up all night is Spicy. First of all, her name, okay? So just imagine, it goes with the personality.
Yes.
But seeing her run around, she was our winner of our first activity.
She got all those questions.
She got all the questions.
All the money answers.
Yes, and she won a gift card, okay? But it's like having that attitude of like, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get to the goal. I'm like, okay, sis, I respect that. I like that. So yeah, those are the two.
I love it. And speaking of Dr. Hill and her vision and execution, this is her third year doing the Black Woman Lead Summit. I take it you're a first time attendee.
This is my first time.
I have attended for 3 years now so far. Wow, and I've known Dr. Hill for years. We met each other in grad school. And I will say that she does everything excellent.
Yes.
She executes with excellence. And so it's been a blessing to see her over the years. This is a further manifestation of, and just a further evolution of what she was doing way back when we met in Houston.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so with where we are today, like, what what's one word that you would describe the evolution of just black women lead, Lord. Sorry, black women lead, Lord. From year to year, like, is there like a through line, or is there like one thing that you're like, you know, you're gonna get this when you come here?
Yeah. You know, I'm going to steal an answer from another old timer. She's a 3-time attendee, and she described it as a pause, number one.
Ooh, I like
and I will say that this is a pause. I know that we are pretty busy. Most of us that come here are Black women leaders in some way, shape, or form. And when we get here, we get to pause, put down the cape, put down all of our responsibilities, and just be. And also be cared for, intended to, and loved on. And I think people have talked about this idea of sisterhood and community building and relationship building. And I think that's one of the biggest benefits of coming to the Black Women League Summit, is that you will create and make relationships with folks. It is energetic. It is electrifying, magnetic, and we welcome you all. So that's what I see as the through line. Please come on, because we'll be back next year and we want to see you here.
I'm going to be back too.
You going to be back?
I'm going to be here. Yes, I will.
I'll have like 1 or 2 more questions, but I have, so one is, who's a Black woman leader, past or present, who inspires you?
Ooh, that's a good question. I have to think about that. So I'm going to go with my grandmother.
I love it.
Okay. So she was the first woman that rose to a captain level within the correction officer world in New Jersey.
Oh, wow.
She was a sharpshooter, like she carried a gun. And she was one of the, like, when they did all the testing with the guns and all that, I don't know what it's called, but she scored the highest in her class.
Don't mess with her.
And so to see a Black woman, 40, 50 years ago, rise to the ranks of captain by her own home, like, it's just been inspiring to see that. She's no longer here. But when I think about women who have been trailblazers, women who didn't have a handout, women who sought more for themselves and their family, I think of my grandmother.
Yeah. Were there any specific lessons that you could share with us that you learned from her as it relates to being a professional, to being a leader, but also about finances?
Yes. So, I mean, I can say with her being a homeowner, I'm still aspiring to be a homeowner. But let me tell you, these LA prices, let's talk about it. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. But the legacy of homeownership, I would say. So homeownership is actually the number 1 determinant of wealth in the United States. And so seeing a Black woman back then purchase a home on her own, I would say disciplined. She was a very disciplined woman. And she cared about not having a lot of debt. She cared about saving. And so it's interesting. I feel like women and men from that generation, they didn't necessarily lead with their words, but it was more so the actions. She never sat me down and said, hey, don't get into credit card debt. But it was more so the way she lived her life. And I was able to see, okay, this is how you do this, and this is how you do this well. So she was a very disciplined woman. And yeah.
I love that. And I imagine that discipline is something that is really important to us as Black women leaders, but it's also important in finances.
Yeah.
And something that I think, not for all Black women leaders, obviously, but for myself, I will say, and for some that I know, that sometimes the discipline with money can be a little challenging.
It can be. One of the things that I find, unfortunately, with a lot of Black women leaders is that the income is there, right? But when I talk to them, it's like, oh my God, I'm making so much money, but where is it all going? I don't have anything saved, or I don't have enough invested to retire, but I make good money. So I would say part of the 4 C's that we talked about was commitment and consistency.
Okay.
Yeah. So working with a financial advisor, and you've got to bring your commitment, but I can help you with the consistency because I'm a call you.
You're gonna call us?
I'm gonna call you. I just had a client last week. We're trying out a new budget system, and I said, okay, I'm gonna call you in 2 weeks.
Ooh.
I said, and she's like, okay, and I ring.
Ooh, when I get those calls, I'm like, ooh, I'll be so
ring, and she see my number come up. I said, how we doing with our new budget? She said, you know what? I'm doing really well. Thank you.
I love that.
Yes.
I love that.
Okay, I'm gonna call. Listen, I call and text my clients. So
where can we find you?
Yes. So I'm on Instagram. It's at Amber the Advisor. So AMBER THEADVISOR. So Amber the Advisor, or online ambermcneil.nm.com. So it's just my first name AMBER, last name MCNEIL.nm.com. So yeah.
Y'all, make sure you connect with Amber.
Please do.
We just talked to her for a little bit. She ran a really important set of activities. I feel like there was a lot of learning, and the gems you just dropped with us right now are super helpful, and we need them as Black women leaders. Thank you very much for all you're doing.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. I've enjoyed chatting with you as well.
Me too. I love this.
Like, you're a great interview host. Do you do this in real life?
A little bit.
Oh, no, you're good.